Hey everybody, welcome back to Ready Steady Play, where we've just finished playing Shaolia Warring States, and now Ollie and I are going to give our thoughts.
So, to the victor the spoils.
Well, it was a hard-fought victory.
Damn straight it was hard fought.
It's hard to work on your cultural influence when
you're being invaded every Tuesday
by a bunch of savages, burning down your schools. I don't even know how many. You must have destroyed so many schools and libraries.
I'm pretty sure, literally, I joked that it was like the Attila the Hun approach. I'm pretty sure that's an apt analogy. It's just like marauding army, just destroying every like cultural structure standing, and just trying to be like, this is ours now. You didn't get the name Hammer of God for nothing.
Indeed. So this was, and what's interesting about this one actually is that this was the overwhelming power scenario, and it felt like there was a lot of power. You know, because I was going to say that I thought that this game was quite long actually, but there's also a rush scenario, so there are 5 scenarios, and we were playing the one that was sort of like big power, big improvements, and comes with the wonders in it as well. And so obviously I was trying to develop culture. You were attacking me a lot. And yeah, it sort of felt like my the balance was very much on the line all the time. Are those the 3 wonders?
Those are the 3 wonder types. So it actually said in the game book before we started this that its victory will be difficult without building any kind of wonder, which I find funny considering how that leveraged on the last turn.
Yeah, but I mean,
it did feel like if I'd have managed to get a war elephant out, I would have
been so screwed.
Yeah. But I just couldn't get. I kind of butchered my own economy to try and keep you in place.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't think I made a tactical error other than not taking out the market sooner. But
yeah, because we were discussing how my entire economy was based on one building, and if Ollie destroyed it, I mean, I don't know if it would have necessarily taken me out of the game.
I don't think it would have taken you too long to get it back.
But that would have been more resources I would have had to divert to that while you were sort of attacking me. And almost all my resources were devoted to keeping up the defenses. And then what little I had left over was devoted to building up towards the cultural victory. But as you saw throughout the game, my culture was going back and forth and back and forth. And it wasn't until I got the wonder out that I was able to sort of shoot to the end.
Yeah. Which I suppose thematically makes sense. Like once you got the wonder. Although it's funny that one of the win conditions is have 3 of them. I can't see a situation where you would have the ability to build 3 of them and not already be winning.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's sort of because I feel like there's quite a lot of different avenues to victory in this game, and I think one of the less obvious ones, because the 2 most obvious are war and culture, because those are the sort of end game conditions that are set up at the beginning.
Yeah.
But actually, economy, the wonder victory condition, which is only applied in this scenario, really adds in this victory condition of economy, where if you build up this massive earnings, sort of action efficiency for earnings, like the mines that give you passive crystals, which are awesome, you could get the wonders out relatively quickly. And even though you're not anywhere on this, because what I think is the linchpin of this whole thing is the dice, right? Having 3 actions and having to choose.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think having only 8 spaces as well, and 2 of them are locked, that limits you a lot.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I essentially had 2 buildings. Like, I had 2 buildings. I used that blacksmith once, and then used the crystal for officers, so I could have just used my palace. And I used the farm once or twice, max.
Yeah, and I think actually where you were talking about, I think at one point in the playthrough you'd spent die onto the... Well, actually it doesn't really make a difference though, does it? I mean, I suppose if you put a 1 down on the only difference between taking officers from the blacksmith crystal and the palace is that the palace can take any die.
Yeah.
If you're spending crystals, if you're spending officers to get that crystal, or even because you've put a die down there, then it's such a small inefficiency.
Yeah, but it's
potentially it might not even be one, right?
To be honest, the thinking behind it, and if I'd have thought a bit clearer, was to get that smelter out, because I had that for most of the game, and I was just like, I can have that, but I never had the dice spare to do it, so. It just became how many times can I whack you in the face? If I'd have managed to get a second gym out.
Yeah. If you'd had another gym, I would have been in so much trouble.
Yeah.
And I really think that it probably could have come quite close to that.
Mm. But, I mean, that's part of the game.
How many cards did you have in hand at the end?
3.
Yeah, because, I mean, you should have dumped those for a gym.
Well, I didn't have the money for the gym.
Yeah, that's true, but...
I was about to dump them anyway.
Yeah, and then you could have got another gym out by...
And then all of my... potentially all of my infantry attacks. Because... Roll a 3! Oh, it's the only one I didn't roll.
Yeah, that's how close it was. There was a few occasions where a single dice roll
could have changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that this isn't yet like fully, it's not yet fully finished.
This is not the final product. It's all this is a Kickstarter edition. Yeah,
this is the Kickstarter edition, and
this is a pre-Kickstarter prototype.
Yeah, so I like how the game looks considering it's not finalized. I like the idea that you've got multiple copies of the card with different dice results on them, because it means that you go, I mean, our 2 blacksmiths were both a 1, but I'm sure there was ones out there that had a different number on them. So if I can find one,
that gives you a little bit of a. There's 4 and a 2.
Yeah, so it makes it a lot more strategic. It's not just do I need to get that card; it's do I need that card with that number on it, because you can end up doing yourself a disservice by having all of your cards need the same numbers. By the same token, if you roll and get those numbers, you'd be like, right, overwhelming power.
I really like the turn order. I really like how sort of back and forth it is. You always feel like you're doing something. There's very little downtime. I mean, it's a head-to-head game, so downtime's not really much of an issue anyway.
Except for AP.
Except for the AP. But,
which can happen really easily.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, a negative element is that, especially in the action phase, you can't really be planning your turn because you don't know what you're going to roll.
Yeah.
But I don't think that AP was a massive problem, and I think in this particular scenario as well, it was more of a problem. Yeah. And that was one thing I was going to say is, because I really like the speed of the back and forth. I really like the mechanisms. I like this sort of Tableau building element. I like how aggressive it can be. I like how you can you've got this whole sort of dynamic of destroying someone's Tableau and then trying to maintain it, the defenses in the Tableau. I liked what was going on here. And I didn't feel like super negative that you were constantly destroying my stuff.
No, because it wasn't so easy for me to just be like, right, I can take out this, and this. I mean, I was amazed how many barricades you managed to get.
Yeah, I had to keep building the barricades, or else I would have. I think there's 6 or something in the deck, but I had to spend a whole turn just fishing through that deck to get 2 more, because you kept destroying them, and every time you destroyed them, you got money.
Yeah,
So
although it's an inefficient way of getting money.
Yeah, that's true. But also, what you're doing is you're spending an action to gain a coin, but you're also causing me to waste time and actions rebuilding the barricades. I've got to spend actions to get them back. I've got to spend money to build them.
Unless they're boosted by the gym, I'm actually spending 2 actions to get 2 coins and take out one of your buildings. No, 1 coin and take out one of your buildings. Because they only do the 1 damage.
Well, yeah, and that's that's the thing about this game is because you've got infantry and not.
I mean, there was, as you say, there were a lot of more powerful ones that you deliberately stopped me from getting.
Yeah, I did my best to sort of stop you from picking up the
catapult.
Yeah.
And so this bad boy would have been pretty damn good. Deal 1 damage, 3 damage on defense cards. That would have been your barricade or your fortress or your swamp. And then deal 1 damage to all cards in the front row. If I'd have had that out for a couple of turns shooting you,
God,
that would have been devastating.
Yeah. But I like the idea as well that you can kind of sort of go back and forth, and the game can swing back and forth.
Yeah, I mean,
and I like the rush mode. I like the idea that there's another scenario that could be faster, because this was nice, but I don't know if I'd want to play this length every time.
Yeah, I mean, partly that's because of how I played. I sacrificed. I had a war economy. I sacrificed everything to have the combat.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably a mistake on my part that early on. But it was easy to fall into, and because you grabbed up all the culture buildings, I thought I need to take your palace out. I didn't expect as many barricades as came up. I thought I would have time to do damage to it, but there was always a more appealing target.
Well, what's really funny is I actually was dealt the merchant, and the general. She was my other one, and she gives me 3 attack tokens to apply to things. So my original plan was to be very aggressive,
and then you totally switched on it.
Yeah, I totally switched on it because I drew nothing but culture buildings.
Oh, I just realised because you had the general, I had the captain.
Yeah, the captain keeps things alive, which is funny because if we'd swapped, that would have been really useful for both of us. Then they probably would have kind of countered each other out.
I mean, we sold them. We both sold them, so it didn't make any difference.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's cool.
But I find the speed. I like the Tableau building. I find the sort of the opportunities here to be very engaging. I like the building of the buildings, and I like how. I think actually this game is better with someone who's playing aggressively. Having said that, it's only a 2-player head-to-head, and it's only, or a 4-player 2v2, yeah. Which I would be very interested in trying. It's a shame that there's not like sort of a free-for-all mode, but I mean,
there might be. There's still stretch goals possible.
Yeah, maybe. As a result of the Kickstarter campaign, you don't know what's going to happen.
But I did find it funny. I liked the 2 random character cards that we were dealt with at the start, purely because it adds a nice amount of randomization to it. And if you don't like them, they're a source of income. I mean, it's not a great source of income, but it's nice that it's never a wasted card because you can always get something from it. You might be using it suboptimally, but they might not fit with your strategy, and then otherwise it's just burning a card. But I like the little mini meeple bits. I like the player pieces. I have to admit, I was laughing a bit when I saw them the first time because you've got the combination of cardboard and I think wood. I'm assuming, but I like that. I hope that makes it through the final product. The gems as well. We did have a question of, are the darker ones meant to represent a 5 or just they're there?
I think they're just extra gems. They did give us two very indistinct colours, but I don't think 5 gems.
I don't think 5's coming up.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we just didn't build enough blacksmiths and mines. But
mine.
It took me forever to get 4 gems and build my wonder. Yeah. And on the subject of wonders, I
wonder how he won.
Not sure how I feel about them because they do seem to escalate the game towards the end game condition very, very quickly.
2 of them specifically.
Well, both of the 2 of them specifically. The fortress buys you a lot more time, I suppose. Well, but because you don't play with them in the basic version. Yeah. I don't know about Rush. Do you use them in Rush?
No, they're not a victory condition in Rush. You can use the cards. It's just this is the only version where having 3 of them wins you the game.
But I feel like the War Elephant and the Ancestral Valley are basically just victory winners anyway.
Yeah, you have one of them and you'd be hard pressed to lose. I mean, can you imagine if you had 2 Ancestral Valleys?
Well, you need to have the economy to buy dice to trigger them, though.
Yeah, but it'd just be at the point where you can afford more than 1 wonder. I'm pretty sure you've won the game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine you building 3 unless they're all fortresses. Like,
don't
keep away.
There's only 2 of them for a reason. Don't even joke about that.
Is there only 2 copies of each wonder in the deck?
Yeah, I mean for that reason.
Yeah, and sometimes you're instructed, I think, to just put in one wonder as well, because the construction of there is a lot more level 2 buildings that we're not using. So you always use the same deck of level 1 buildings, and that's just in this prototype. Obviously, it might change in the Kickstarter edition, but the level we're only using about half the level 2 buildings, and you change the deck. Like for example, in another version of the level 2 deck, there are cavalry, which might have helped you out a lot in this game. But you had the catapults.
It tells me this now.
Well, yeah, but you didn't build any catapults, Ollie.
Only one.
You build the catapults.
It's because they were all in the discard pile, thanks to you. I
wonder how that happened.
Mr. Card Draw.
Mr. Culture Money Spender guy. Yeah, it was always a very difficult decision to decide whether or not to spend culture on money, because I needed money to protect myself, to earn culture, but I needed the culture to win the game. And that decision felt really interesting and good. You know, it didn't feel like, oh, this is just taking forever, I'm delaying the game, it's because it could easily have been like, I'm slowing the game down.
I did feel a couple of times that you were taking like slightly suboptimal moves when you could have just been maxing out the culture, But then, given the buildings I destroyed, then the very next time I went forward, I was like, actually, maybe not, because it's a lot more precarious than I'm realizing. And maybe even once, if you'd done that differently, because if I took out all of your, like, I mean, the garden was annoying, but it doesn't generate anything.
Yeah, it's reliant on the others, exactly.
Yeah. So if I'd have taken out that last school before you put the wonder down, then all of a sudden you cannot generate, and all of the others are in the discard pile. So the only way you can get to them is the trade. So then I just got to kill your marketplace. Yeah,
my entire situation here was very precarious. Razor's Edge. Just like you were destroying 2 or 3. By the end, you were destroying 2 or 3 buildings every turn.
We were trying. Me and my horde.
And if I lost, and if there was,
for a pre-Kickstarter prototype, I'm very impressed with how it's been laid out. I'm interested in what might change in the Kickstarter version. I think probably extra character cards are definitely on the cards.
Yeah. I would love to see a 3-player free-for-all.
Yeah.
And I would love to see more buildings, level 1 buildings that open up sort of different types of scenarios and things like that. But the fact that I want to see more of it
is a good sign.
Is a very, very good sign, yeah.
I mean, I'm when I looked at it originally, I thought, you just need 18 culture and 12 damage against the palace. That's going to be so easy to achieve. It wasn't.
But it feels like a really good balance, because if those seem easy to achieve, then it gives the game a lot of tension.
Yeah.
And you really feel that pressure. It's like, like you said, you felt like you couldn't let up on the attack.
Yeah.
Because I could so easily rocket up to 18 culture. And that makes the game interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was a much longer slog, then or the numbers were much bigger, it wouldn't have felt as tense. And like, you were saying, like, you were doing consistently 4 damage a turn, pretty much, potentially increasing, and that's just 3 turns on the palace.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure that I sort of
had other targets.
Yeah, had other tempting targets for you. Or, for example, like you were saying, if you went after the palace and left the culture alone, I might just rocket up to 18. And I think sort of finding that balance, I think there were a few turns where maybe you could have sort of put some damage on the palace instead of onto the culture buildings, but there's always that that worry.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, the reason I had all these culture buildings, but I never really went all in on them, was precisely because I was worried that if I got the culture meter from like down here up to here or up to here, you would suddenly sort of. I was kind of hoping for a turn where you left the palace alone. I wanted to creep up towards sort of like a situation where I could feasibly
just one
shot it in one turn, Which I did, but only because I was able to get the Ancestral Valley out.
Yeah. Because
it's kind of got the hit points and the value on it.
Yeah.
Because I can get what is essentially all 3 buildings for 2 dice. Because to get 7 from these buildings, I needed all 3 of them to activate.
And the bonus.
With the bonus, exactly. Whereas this is 7 without the bonus, and then that puts it up to 8. But the other thing you've always got to be really, really mindful of is this flag. It seems very sort of superfluous.
Yeah.
But actually, you being able to attack first, because we were looking at this one, where is it? By turn, become the first player in the next round. We looked at that and we were like, when would you ever do that? And actually, thinking about it now, I should have done that a bunch of times, because it really would have helped.
Yeah.
And so what that means is there's sort of all this kind of sort of cool depth to think about. And the scenarios feel really well constructed to really bring out that kind of difficult decision making.
Yeah, I was impressed by that. I have to say, I'm interested in how this is going to continue. Probably the one criticism I'd have is that because of how certain cards can come out, there seems to be a swing towards culture, because there's no way of me taking it away from him. And I wonder if maybe there's a mechanic that could do that for some kind of cost. Because health is easy to chip away at. I don't know if it would be better or worse. It's one of the things that culture meter going up was always, the higher that went, the higher my tension got. And I wonder if having a way of reducing that would be better or worse.
Yeah, because what you can do is you can heal damage, but you can't
You can't remove someone else's culture.
Yeah. I wonder if there is a trade card or something that does that.
I have no idea. It'd be interesting to find out.
Oh, that's fun. Put blockage tokens on your friends.
But yeah, so I mean,
which we haven't tried.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say is the culture seemed quite. Yeah, I'd have loved that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some kind of way to sort of like sort of sabotage your opponent's cultural buildings or something would have been interesting. Then again, if you had this, you could buy.
I'd have just been like, nope, you're not doing that.
You could just lock those down. Yeah.
Your garden. Oh no, I can't lock off your passive abilities, but I can stop your generation.
Yeah, you could have just turned off the schools or.
Yeah,
but I think
school is closed today. It's a snow day.
It's a snow day, but I think that's why the palace has 12 as opposed to 18 because. You could just start hitting on that, and then it becomes this crazy race.
As I say, that's a fairly minor niggle because I'm not even sure if it would improve it or not. It's something I felt that was tense.
It would have been interesting to have a sort of a building that would allow that kind of thing.
Cultural theft,
but
appropriation.
I just wonder if it would have made it very difficult for me to sort of. I would have had to suddenly build an army, which actually would have maybe been okay. It's kind of cool how you can kind of shift on a dime,
I had an army. You had a valley and a garden.
But peace wins out in the end. That's peace and.
I do believe that Age of Empires and Civilization and all those other RTS games all proved that the cultural victory can be the moral victory, but the military victory is where you actually change the map.
Well, I think what Civilization proved is that the cultural victory is the best victory to pick if you want to play for. Days and days. And the military victory is the way to go if you want a short game.
Yeah. I tried. Damn you, Sid Meier.
Yep, so check out Shaolin Warring States on Kickstarter.
Yep.
Coming, I think, soon, like this early June. You've probably found this video. It's probably on Kickstarter right now, based on the way my channel works.
Basically, how much editing he does and how quickly. That's right, the pressure's on you.
No! So I hope you've enjoyed this game with us, guys, and that you'll come back and join us for the next adventure tomorrow on Race Day Play. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.
Are you hungry? I'm starving.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah, I'm always hungry, so I just mistrust the feeling.